What were your first thoughts after you lost your virginity? To be honest, although it was very bad, didn't even got full erected cuss of nervousness, I thought on my way home that I could now die at peace, and I was extremely happy, which is pretty weird because it didn't change anything. But society tells you something different. I don't think it's weird. One thing that stood out to me about my first time, and which probably applies to many, not all, people's first times, was getting a confirmation that I am likable enough that someone would want to have sex with me, and they enjoyed it well enough to be open to it again in the future. Besides the fact that sex gets better the more you do it, as a guy I feel like your first time without a condom is a more impressive experience than your first time with a condom. Vaginas feel so warm. P.S. Use condoms. Holy shit, that felt great. Damn, what a mess. I want to do that again right now. Virgins, please note, most of us pretty much all thought may. I mean, it gets better, and there might be some awesome moments, and it's pretty fun to do, but it's really not the end of the world. Why did I make this such a big deal? I'm still the same person I was before. For some reason I thought it was going to change me. Turns out it really wasn't that big of a deal. Still really fun though. Yes. This is important for a lot of people to hear. I went to Catholic school my whole life and was led to believe I would be permanently damaged and changed as a person after having sex. There was a lot of shame and disgust around it. When it finally happened, I was shocked that I didn't burst into flames and I didn't feel any different as a person. Nothing about my life changed. It has literally impacted my life 0%. The girl said, that wasn't supposed to happen after I came within a minute. And then my thought was, score. We did it on the carpeted floor of the balcony of an auditorium. My first thought was that this would be so much better in a bed with our clothes completely off. This is what all those songs are about? That was fucking boring. After my next sexual partner, I was like, yo oh 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 oh. Did it in the back of my car with my girlfriend at the time, and after I finished in about 20 minutes she said she couldn't believe I was a virgin. Little did she know I watched a lot of porn and masturbated 3 times earlier that day so I wouldn't bust quick. The victim of sexual abuse as a child, I held my virginity as something sacred, the only part of me that wasn't dirtied or stolen, so when I foolishly decided to just get it over with in a fit of hormones and depression, it was absolutely awful. Wrong person, wrong time, wrong mindset. I don't believe virginity is some sacred thing. But it was to me, and I felt like I had just destroyed the final piece of me that was left untainted. Safe to say, I was in a pretty low spot for a while there afterwards. Am I really not a virgin anymore? Was that it? My ex was so tight and sensitive that I never got to go deeper than just the tip. All that stimulation on the head was enough for me to orgasm, though, and there's no definition of sex that says that it needs to be balls deep, so yeah, virginity lost, sex had. Still, it took us so long just to get the tip to fit in, and I had always imagined that once we got that far, then we could push forward the rest of the way and have our hips meet. Nope. I didn't get to have good sex until years later, with someone else. That was embarrassingly fast. I apologize. It's more so what I felt. I felt like a total failure. Growing up watching hardcore porn messed me up. I thought I was supposed to last at least an hour. And when I could barely last a minute, it destroyed me. Plus she got angry that I only lasted a minute. I think she could only get off via penetration. She would wince away from any clit play, even after a ton of working up to it, so I essentially just got really good at turning her on but terrible at actually delivering. The guy asked me how it felt not to be a virgin anymore, and I just didn't feel any different. Telling my mom was more dramatic than the actual act of giving away my virginity. There were way more tears when I was telling my mom, way more emotion, too, now that I think about it. It took me like 3 days to work up the courage, and when I told her, she jumped out of her chair and started crying, which made me cry. I actually spent the night at my sister's place because my mom was freaking out so bad. It's okay though, because that dude might have been a horn dog and definitely not date material for anyone, but it was the funnest time of my life. Exploring my sexuality was mostly due to him being down for anything. Now, whenever I want to stop a conversation, I just tell my mom I'm going to masturbate and she cringes so bad. It's hilarious. kinda sad because we got interrupted and I didn't get to actually come. But even thought that happened, I actually enjoyed my first time and was surprised I lasted about 15 minutes before we got walked on. Might be cousin once hers first time, so she kinda knew what to do. That was underwhelming. I thought sex was gonna be some transcendent body experience, and it was great, no doubt, but I was expecting a whole lot more. Looking back on it, I'm not really sure why my expectations were so astronomically high. My advice to virgins is that sex is great and fun, but it's not life or death. The right time and person will come. I'm bisexual. First time with a boy, I was so madly in love with him and I wanted to tell him so much, but it was awkward and a bit sore. First time with a girl was wonderful, but I wasn't as in love as with the boy, so something was missing in the feelings department that left me a bit empty. Isn't it supposed to feel good? This is boring as shit. In my ex's defense, he'd only been with one other girl, who was apparently a dead fish and gave no feedback whatsoever. Then again, he watched a lot of porn and assumed that if I was even the slightest bit wet, that meant he could just pummel my cervix and I'd love it. I married my husband 2 years after dumping that douche. It took years and lots of patience to be able to actually enjoy sex. I was proud with that cocky sense of teenage accomplishment, but at the same time I was like, I really thought there would be more to it. Don't get me wrong, it was great, but got way overhyped in my mind. I can't remember what exactly my first thoughts were, but I realized very quickly after that I was not as ready for it as I had thought. Then she told me she loved me a few minutes later and I was just like, see you at school Monday. I called one of my really good friends on the drive home while crying. Not my finest moments. That's it? That's all there is? That's what all the excitement is about? That's what everyone is so amazed with? Needless to say, the first time was very disappointing. Neutral face, confused face. And will other people be able to tell I'm not a virgin anymore? Will my mom know? My first thoughts were, this is it? This is nothing special. Jerking off feels better. But it is nice to have human contact. Fuck, I wish I had a condom. I had to stop short after that last thought because I thought maybe I might come without realizing it. Then I tried using a condom and then realized you get zero pleasure from it, and there's a thing called pulling out. Initially I was upset that it didn't last longer because I was enjoying it so much. I'm a gay man in a bottom. My partner and I had been getting intimate for months, and he wanted to fuck me so bad that when I was finally ready, he got too excited and came in under 2 minutes.